whenever I finish an episode of Blue Lock and then I go to Daima, well, typically it's the other way around because Daima comes out before Blue Lock. But in this case, I watched Blue Lock then Daima. It's just a treat to watch because the animation is so beautiful, especially during those ending fighting sequences where we saw Glario and Goku piece up the guys in the bar, all of those mooks in the bar. I loved how Goku grabbed some plates and was just like smashing them in. It was such a treat to watch. I am looking forward to the fight choreography in this series a lot because they just they they're utilizing really interesting poses and like the actions just looks a lot more kinetic than I'm used to seeing in Super. So far I'm really impressed by that. But overall this episode was more so a build up episode, more so to do with world building and the way Demon Realm works and that those big cheaps they're actually called warp summers. They decide whether people are able to go through to the other side, to the other realm, the demon realm, which we already knew about that, but they explained it in even more detail in this episode. But this was just mainly world building and adventure, which I actually enjoyed because I feel as though in Z we didn't get as much of the adventure aspects from Dragon Ball, and in Super it's kind of the same thing. So it's actually nice to see Goku actually go off on an adventure and like travel somewhere and discover a new world. So I enjoy this as well. I was like, whoa, they're not just rushing into fights and establishing this big bad that Goku needs to beat and like big fight scenes. It's like, no, none of that. We're taking it slow. We're learning more about the demon realm. We learned that there's three different worlds. World 1 is for the aristocrats and the higher ups. World 2 is like the middle class world. And World 3 is for like the working class or underclass of people in this world. And you can tell there's somewhat of a tension between the different worlds because at some point, Glario refers to the race of Supreme Kai. I can't remember what it was called, but he was like, oh, you're this race. There's no way you would ever come down to this slum in World 3. It must be weird for you to be here. And you could see there was sort of a tension between him and Supreme Kai, which I thought was quite interesting. So I can't wait to find out more about this world. And then little bits where we found out that those volcanoes are spewing out that air. Because at first, this is what happens. Goku gets out and then he's like, oh, it's heavy. And I was thinking, whoa, is it because the gravity is like 2 to 3 times more stronger than it is on Earth in Demon World 3? And it turns out no, it's actually because of the air from the volcanoes. The air that they emit makes it harder for people to move around. And I just thought that was a cool little touch. And then you see all of these different plants as well. So the world building here and like adventure aspects is just in full force, and I'm all for it. I want to know more about that. And an interesting thing also is Glario. He seems to have this gun which is pretty powerful because it's able to mobilize a ton of random mooks. Like I thought Goku was gonna step in and like do a few punches and kicks, but Glario just shoots like a couple of times and they're mobilized. And then he shows off the gun in the hotel, and that guy gets shook. At first, he was like, "Oh, 30K to 30K for you guys to stay here." He shows him the gun, and he's like, "Okay, 5K. I'm gonna chill out." So it's interesting. I don't know. Not many people like in this world. People probably don't have guns as much. That's probably the reason why they're a bit shook because it just seemed like it was a novel thing for them to see a gun, to be honest. But yeah, that's it overall. I would say it's a pretty good episode. Not too much plot wise per se to talk about. It's just well built. Oh, the final thing I would say is the comedy. The comedy was on point when Goku was like saying to the cheap, it looks like a goldfish. I was just laughing. That was hilarious. And then Supreme Kai had to transform Goku's ears to make sure he looks like a demon from the demon realm, which actually comes, that's an important plot point for later on. But that was funny too. And just Goku saying, oh man, it's because it smells because of the air. And then Goku's like, oh, no one would be able to realize if I farted here. And then later on he farts, and I'm just like, Goku, calm on. So this Goku, this version of Goku is pretty funny. So I like that. But yeah, the reason why they got into that fight is because they recognized that Goku doesn't have pointy ears. He has these curved ears. So that's why they got into that fight. But overall, I would just say it was an interesting episode. I'm looking forward to next week's episode, and especially if we get more really sweet like action choreographed like Sakuga scenes like we got in this episode. I'll look forward to that. But overall, that's me. I know this is a bit more of a low effort review. I'm sorry, guys. This week productivity was weird, and then I had like Comic Con and stuff like that. So it is what it is. But I'll catch you next time for next week's review, and it will be a better one. So thank you for watching. If you watched the whole thing, you can type in Goku Farts, live and learn, and catch you for the next review next time. Bye.